What's good, people? We are back with another edition of the New York Sports Rapid Rundown, the best show discussing the hottest three topics of the week in New York sports. And as the calendar is now turned to March, we are in Women's History Month. So this month, on each episode, we're going to feature some of the best women working in sports journalism in the New York area. This week, to tip off Women's History Month, I have the pleasure of having a freelance sports journalist and content creator, my good friend, Erika Fernandez. Erika, what's going on?
Oh man, I'm so happy to be here. I'm looking at all the lights. This is beautiful. And again, like I was telling you off camera, I'm so proud of you for what you've been accomplishing. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I had to have you. You're one of the best voices I know around sports in New York. We've known each other for a long time. We've talked a lot of sports.
Yes, we have.
Created some content together.
Yes, we have.
Okay, now we get to do the New York Sports Rapid Rundown together.
Exactly.
So it's fun. Now, Erika, this week, as always, on the show, so much to get into.
Yes.
Okay, including your New York Mets attempting to bolster their rotation following Kodai Senga's injury. We got the St. John's Red Storm. Their tournament chances are being revived. But first, we tip things off with the New York Knicks. And Erika, after a red-hot January, the month of February wasn't kind to the New York Knicks. They lost 8 of 12 games that they played last month. At the start of last month, the Knicks, they were looking like contenders and a team that could contend for the 2 seed in the East. Now it's not really clear as to whether or not they could avoid the play-in tournament. Now, I know the Knicks have not been healthy. Everybody knows that. But the thing here is it time, Erika, to hit the panic button if you are a fan after what was a disappointing February?
I want to say as a fan, you want to hit the panic button. You are worried, you are annoyed, you're angry, you're feeling all these sort of emotions. But only because, you know, we've covered these teams for years now. I feel like I would have had so much more fun covering this team than the one in 2015, 2016. They're still above 500. I personally don't think it's time to press the panic button just yet, but that's just me personally. But obviously people are upset, disgruntled. They're wondering when OG's going to be back. Obviously he started shooting recently. Hopefully he's back by the end of the week, but who knows when these timetables are, you know, correct for these players. But it's such a pain to see because they were so good in January. And I love them. I'm not a Knicks fan, as you know, but I have a soft spot for them. I'm New York. Of course I want to see New York sports on top.
Yeah.
1000%, yeah.
You got to. For people who don't know, Erika is a fan of the San Antonio Spurs. One of the most shocking fandoms that I've known from a New Yorker, that she's a fan of the San Antonio Spurs. But you mentioned that despite the Knicks this week, right? They 1-2 this past week. They did get some good news. Fans did get this on Thursday. They got the word that forward OG Anunoby is shooting again. So when you talk about him, will getting Anunoby back on the court sooner rather than later solve a lot of the issues that we've seen with the Knickerbockers over the past month? Do you think he really helped solve some of those issues?
I think so. Even like if you go back on his stats and you look at it, like, wow, he was really overperforming. He was all over the court. He was playing over 30 minutes in January. Like his contribution to the team, it's outstanding. He's necessary key piece to the team. But it's funny when you look at the schedule, like there's 14 games in March. And I was looking at the schedule a couple days ago. And I feel like they're just going to have challenges with the Cavs, the Magic, the Nuggets, even the 76ers that are on their tail for trying to get them out of that fourth spot. But I feel like when they lost the game to the Warriors, I was actually upset for them because that was a game you should have won. But I'm with Josh Hart. He was sounding off on the post game. I can't even get mad at him. Like he was loud, and I love when players are loud because you're showing that passion. You're showing that, you know, I'm tired of you people criticizing us. This is what we got. Like, chill out. Let these key players come back, and maybe hopefully we'll figure it out. But March is going to be a real test to them.
That's an interesting thing because March will be a test for them. There's no doubt, right? You talked about the teams that are heading them, Cavs.
Yes.
They have a big games with them to start off the month.
Yes.
And then they've got some other teams that you said on their heels, like the 76ers. Mm-hmm. So it's a weird situation, right? Because they don't have a lot of room for error. We're talking about the fact that they could slip into the play-in tournament. But at the same time, Erika, they're trying to get healthy. The fans want to see them get healthy. They really want to see them get back. So it's kind of balancing getting healthy.
Exactly.
Are you concerned about the minutes a little bit here? Because we're seeing a lot of players play a lot of minutes as they're trying to get healthy. Are you concerned about some of these players getting burnt out?
Well, you know what's funny? That's something that's associated with Thibs. That's like right before he came to the team. Oh, he overuses the players. That's what he did to Derrick Rose. And you know how everyone's opinions reflects that. But I feel like they're doing the best with what they got. So some players are going to overplay like 3 to 5 minutes extra than what they're normally played for. They're kind of picking up the slack. So I feel like it's granted, like, I'm not really surprised, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, no, you can't be. Listen, they're shorthanded right now. They're trying to make this work, and we'll see how the Knicks do in March.
Yes.
Interesting start. Tough schedule.
Yes.
As Erika mentioned, we'll see how it all plays out. We are going to talk some baseball. Erika, I don't know about you, but we're almost talking about baseball. We're under a month to opening day. I cannot believe this. So we have to talk about your New York Mets. I know you are passionate about your New York Mets. Now, according to reports, the New York Mets are continuing to try to upgrade their rotation. They have increased those efforts since Kodai Senga went out with a left shoulder strain. And Erika, there's been talk around Mets fans that they should go after a free agent starter, with some wanting to see the team go after former Yankee, Jordan Montgomery. So let me ask you about him. Would Montgomery be a good fit for the Metropolitans?
I feel like he would. He stepped up to the plate for the Rangers for the World Series. He was a big piece of that, and I'm so surprised the Rangers won, but good for them. It was their first. I can't even get mad at that. But the passion, like, you want to see this team produce, and oh man, Kodai's injury, it was just such a blow. And I opened my apps and I'm like, okay, cool. So this is what we're dealing with. Another injury, another ace. Who is doing voodoo on this team is my question at this point, because it is what it is. But I feel like Jordan Montgomery, he finished with what? 10 and 11, 3.2 ERA. Is David Stern just flirting with us at this point? Is he tippy-toeing? Is he waiting till like the end of next week to figure it out? Because rosters have to be completed in the next couple of days, I figure. Like you said, less than a month away to opening day. So at this point, are we going to offer him something? And I know we talked about this yesterday, but Blake Snell, is he an option? Or is he just available when he's playing video games? Because that's all he's posting lately.
Yeah, I think the market is interesting too, right? Like what's just going on with baseball and how many players are still available, big name players that could help, they legitimately could help teams. And you wonder how aggressive the Mets are going to go. Are they going to wait this out? Are they trying to get more leverage in what they could sign a Montgomery for? Nobody knows right now. That's the thing. Nobody really knows what Stern's intention is. It sounds like, from people I've talked to, talking to Mike Puma, New York Post Mets beat reporter, that they plan to just do this internally, but we will see. Now, you've been a Mets fan for quite some time, and I heard the disappointment in your voice around Kodai Senga. What I've heard when I talk to Mets fans this season is kind of a mixed reaction on how good this Mets team could be for 2024. Okay. What's your expectation for the Mets this coming season? Because you hear from some people it's a transition year. Don't really know how things could be. You hear some people, they could be a playoff team. Some people say, I don't know if they're going to be that good at all. What do you think the Mets could be in 2024? I
want to say they will win at least 80 games. Last year they finished, 75, 76 on the season? And I know I'm overly optimistic. You know, like, there's something about these blue and orange teams that do it to us. I don't know what it is, but they just bring it out in us. Like, we just want to be positive and optimistic. But I feel like they'll be good. And I'm really excited to see Edwin Diaz come back, because that injury from the World Baseball Classic, I can't tell you how upset I was for him, and Team Puerto Rico, I was rooting for them. But I feel like he's a key player that's going to come back as well. He's going to be dominating the closing. There's a reason to get excited, but also, like, transitioning year. Should we look forward to 2026? You know, this is David Stern's first year with us. Will he be able to turn around the team like he did to the Brewers? I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and say at least 80 wins this season.
So 80 wins. You got them right around 500, which I think is reasonable.
And their division is tough, too. Like, the Phillies and the Marlins were above us. Like, we can't say the Marlins suck anymore. They did pretty good. They finished better than we did last season.
Right. You talked about the Phillies. You always got to talk about the Braves. The division is absolutely tough. It's interesting. Can they compete for a third wild card spot? Maybe. Yeah, exactly. We'll see. But you said you're optimistic more times than most. Some Mets fans, the sky's falling. They're on their Chicken Little. The sky's falling. You're not there. You seem like you got them around 500. And that could be good.
I agree.
All right, we will see. Baseball season is rapidly approaching, right? I can't believe we are here already, but we're already talking Mets baseball. We'll see how that roster shapes out. Okay, Erika, we go from baseball. We're going to go back to basketball. But not going to talk about the pros. We're going to talk some college hoops. The St. John's Red Storm, they're red hot. Winners of 3 straight games after they dismantled Butler and Naptown on Wednesday. This all coming after they had lost 8 of their 10 games before the 3-game winning streak. Have you been impressed with this late season turnaround from the Johnnies? Because I did not see this coming at all.
Same. I didn't see it coming at all. And I'm actually surprised. But I feel like, if we want to go back to pointing who was the culprit, I want to say it's Rick Pitino. Like when I think he lit a fire in them, because if you think about it, you're 20-something years old. You kind of have an ego at this age. If someone calls you out in public, especially your coach, I feel like that's going to light a fire in them. You're going to be like, you know what, let me show him what it is, what I got. And these players have turned it around in three games. And it's beautiful to see that something clicked in them. You know, it's the same thing as he did in Iona, and it actually produced for them. So maybe Rick just needs to keep calling them out.
Maybe. You know, it's funny, when that happened, and I remember talking to Zach Braziller about it, I think for a lot of St. John's fans, that felt like such a low moment in the season for them, right? You lost 8 out of 10. You just blew the second half lead to Seton Hall.
Yes.
And then Rick Pitino calls him out. He did not hold back at all whatsoever. You do have to give credit, and I think that's a good point you make, into how these players responded to this, right? Because there's one thing, they could have folded up, all right, pack it in, we're going home.
Yeah.
It's a wrap. Season's over. They didn't do that.
No,
they responded really well, and they've won 3 straight, and now they have a chance. Now, chance, and what we're talking about that chance is, that's getting to the tournament, because Erika, the Johnnies, they're looking to get back to the big dance for the first time since 2019. Now, they're going to have to do some work in order to get there, folks, which starts with winning their last 2 regular season games, and likely also going to have to win a few in the Big East tournament.
Exactly.
So here's the money question. Will the Red Storm make the tourney in 2024? And if they do, what's going to be the reason, in your eyes, that they are a part of March Madness?
I think they have a good chance to make the tournament, in my opinion. And again, I don't know if I'm being optimistic. I like St. John's.
They're not wearing blue and orange.
No, they're not. But they're not my alma mater. But I do like them. They're in Queens. I'm a Queens kid. Like, you know, you want to see these teams doing good. Like, I feel like they had so much prestige, and it's been lost throughout the years. And you want to see that school get back on top and be recognized as such a great basketball program. So as to the second part of your question, I want to say Dennis Jenkins is definitely going to be a big piece of that. Even Joel Soriano. And then maybe Rick should just continue to wear that white mobster-looking suit. Why not? It produced.
just wear the white suit.
Exactly.
It's funny you mentioned Rick being a huge part of it too, right?
Yeah.
Do you think his message stays strong with these guys through these last couple of Big East conference games and then into the Big East tournament? You know, how much does that message where you called them out, how much does that push them through to get to the tournament?
I think it really pushes you through, because like you're basically being insulted by your coach, who stands by his words, did not even apologize, and even insulted the facility of the school. And the entire 15-minute, that presser had me dying, because I'm like, wow, it's just next level. He wasn't holding back, and I'm happy that he was standing by it, because sometimes you need to see that fire in a coach. Like, you can't be, like Monty Williams earlier this week, pissed off, and you want to see that they actually care, not just to win games, but they want to see their players like slump. Like, he was just calling everyone out. You're taking a shot. You're not playing enough defense. Like, you can't win without defense and everything else. But I feel like if you hear that message, it's kind of like your mom or dad calling you out on, you're not doing your best. Step it up.
Yeah, you feel
Yes.
some kind of way about that. Like,
exactly.
It hits differently.
Exactly.
Yeah, it definitely hits differently. And it seems thus far, it's still early, still got some work to do, it seems like it's hit differently for the Red Storm, and they've responded. And you're right, he didn't just call out the players. He called out the whole school, facilities.
Yeah.
He was like, everybody has to be better. And for 3 games at least, they've been better. So we'll see if the Red Storm is dancing later this month. Last thing here. With it being Women's History Month, we got to talk about some women's history in sports. And I'm glad to have you here to have this conversation, Erika, because there's been a lot of talk about the growth of women's sports the past few years. And to be fair, coverage of women's sports has increased undoubtedly. However, when it comes to sports journalism, there's still a huge gender gap. And the gap is even larger when it comes to women of color working in sports journalism. There has been some improvement over the decades, but are you optimistic that the numbers for women in sports journalism will increase as we move forward as a society?
I want to say yes, because when you look into the press room, it's not the way it used to be when I first entered the field. In 2013 is when I began my career, and these rooms were just only white men were in the room. And slowly but surely, trickling of women of color, white women as well, entering the space. And it's so beautiful to see that progression, because like you want to see you want to hear a different voice. You want to be able to hear different perspectives. And I really feel that we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, you see that. You see so many women in different spaces, whether it's not just on the sideline,
Yes.
whether it's doing play-by-play now, whether it's anchoring, just different things around sports broadcasting.
Social as well.
Social as well, too.
Yeah.
Right, which you've done a lot of work in as a content creator. But, sometimes we still see, unfortunately, the sexism
Yes.
around women's sports and sports journalism. I want to ask you this because I think a lot of times we ask women what needs to be done better. But how much needs to be done better by men in terms of being allies, in terms of actually truly doing the work and supporting? How much of that do you think falls on men to be better and support women in sports journalism?
I feel like it's gotten a lot better, especially on social. Like I see the amount of clicks and the retweets that I see on social from people, from men sharing women's work, which is great. I feel like just, click on our work, follow us, retweet, give it a like, whatever form you feel that you want to support, the numbers have to show it because ultimately it's a numbers game and this, Dex. Like they're at the end of the day, they want to make sure that you're hitting the margins. Like if you're not getting certain views, you're not going to get in the space, unfortunately. If you're not getting clicks, then I'm sorry, that credential is denied. And that's the other part of it where you've been, I'm sure that you went through this like year in and year out, like you're tired of applying to the same tournament, the same games. I can't tell you how many times I've applied to MLB and MLB is just like, nope, not yet. And finally, when I was working with Sporting News, that's when I got a chance to cover a game. But I'm sure it's because of Sporting News backing. And they probably then did their research to make sure, okay, she's credible, she knows her work, she knows what she's doing, cool, we can allow a credential. But for men, honestly, just continue to share our work. And it's the easiest thing, but unfortunately doesn't really get enough play.
No, and it's so easy to support in that way you're talking about, right? Through social, whether it's through a like, whether it's through a retweet. Because I think often enough we hear a lot about support women's sports, invest in women's sports, which we should. Not saying that we shouldn't at all. We should, but also support our sisters in journalism who are doing fantastic things like yourself. You continue to do great stuff. No, it's important. And we're going to continue to have this conversation around women's history and how it aligns with sports this month. The first person to kick off Women's History Month on the New York Sports Rapper Rundown, Erika Fernandez. Good friend, good homie, repping Queens.
All day.
Mets fan, St. John's alum, doing good things. Erika, I got to thank you for pulling up to the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, we're going to do this again. You got to come back.
Absolutely, yeah.
No doubt. We're going to have you again.
Quick train right away.
Yeah, there you go. That is Erika Fernandez. Check out her work. Freelance sports journalist, also a content creator doing amazing, amazing work. Erika, great to see you, sister. As I said, we'll do this again.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. We will see you guys next week on the New York Sports Rapid Rundown.